Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Crypto Scene Investigation, where we have a look at various cryptocurrency projects, and we ask ourselves, should we be investing into this? Today we're going to be looking at Madworld, aka Madworld UMAD token. If you guys do like what I do on this channel, please consider liking and subscribing, and if you do wish to comment anything, please have a look at that little grey box down below. We're going to be going through a few different things today, so we're going to be doing some sentimental analysis. We're going to be looking at some social metrics, looking at some on-chain metrics, and we're just going to really be sort of going through whether or not we actually should be investing in something like this. So let's jump to it. It says that we currently don't know the market cap, but it says that the fully diluted market cap is $1.38 billion. It's interesting because this is the second project which I've done recently on this, and that's quite fascinating. So in terms of its rank, it says that its rank is 4,753. So general sentiment according to this side of the side of the board is good. So who or what exactly is UMAD? MAD stands for Multiverse Artist Defend. It is an NFT platform for both real-world and digital collectibles, where the value and provenance of the artist and creator is protected on the multiverse. Cool. So in terms of the exchanges which it is available on, it is on Uniswap, SushiSwap, and LA Token. Haven't heard of LA Token before. This is the first which I've heard of it. If you guys know anything about it, we'll see if we can briefly have a look to see what it says about LA Token. It says the LA Token is the largest IEO, initial exchange offering market. Interesting. Did not know that. Also, a bit of an interesting thing about SushiSwap. So SushiSwap is actually a Uniswap fork built with the idea of stripping power from VCs and returning it to the community. But what is interesting is that I don't think there was any sort of pre-private sale or seed sale for these guys. But yes, we can have a look at some other things from over time as well. So according to this, it says that so this actual token age is about 4 months old, so going back to December is probably about right. So it says that it was 0.15, and we're currently trading at about 0.13-ish. I believe that's right, yep. And so they did have an all-time high at about 0.26, and they also had another close all-time high at about 0.25, 2555. Cool. So let's have a look at what we can see on either scan now. When I first had a look at this, I was a little bit sketched out because I was like, oh my gosh, these are some huge wallets here. So one thing which we will be looking at their white paper regarding this jazz, but it says that these are pretty much all locked. So pretty much all of these are vested from what I understand. Maybe one or two of them is possibly fully unlocked, but as I can see, there's nothing on the site here, because usually when you can sort of like see these things are actually properly locked, they'll be locked under smart contracts, but I can't see anything which says that these are actually properly locked. So to me, from what I see when I look at this particular chain here, I see that everything is unlocked. In other words, what that means is that they could sell all of these at any point in time, which is huge, because if we actually have a look at the token holders chart, okay, so this is the token holders chart. All of these main huge pieces of the pie, they own all of these. They own all of them, all right? And the one which they don't own is this one, the 0.46. So everything else they own, and that is crazy. That is crazy. Yes. So, as I say, I did ask somebody about this, and they did actually say that that there could be something which is potentially listed in the actual contract itself, which has to do with transfers. But when I was having a look through it, so they've got a whole bunch of different sections for their actual contract source code. So if anybody knows anything inside these actual contract source codes, please feel free to let me know if any of this actually confirms what is going on here, because they say that these are vested, and we will have a look at that a little bit deeper, but I can't see the evidence just yet. But they could be, Kay. Just because I can't see it doesn't mean that it's not. All right, cool. Let's have a look at BSC check. So this was done when the price was 0.14. It doesn't tell us how old this is though, so just do bear that in mind, because usually BSC check, they usually have like a they usually do the report maybe like some time ago. They don't do this report too often. So it says the ownership has not been renounced. The dev tokens, it says 28%, but in reality it's probably more than 28%. And they also talk about, they say that one of them says 11%, but that is with a contract. So they may be talking about this one, but I'm not entirely sure. But one other thing which actually is interesting to point out is that when I did actually jump through a few of these here, a bunch of them haven't actually had many transfers. So as you can see, this one has only got one transfer, and that was 109 days ago. This one here says it hasn't really had much neither, but it has been going to the multi-chain of for the old BSC bridge, and this one again. So it doesn't really look like there's been a huge amount which has been going out. Most of it has either been going in or has been going out to some pretty good places. It doesn't mean that they can't rug pull us from here, but to me there's still that potentiality because they still currently own these main top wallets. Cool. So it says according to this that over 95% has been burned or locked, and it says that the lock is in here, which we can see here as well, so you guys can have a look at that jazz. Cool. Exit out of that, and talk a little bit about the liquidities. Now, one thing which is interesting, so it says top holders liquidity are okay, dev wallet warning. So they say that these are actually the top holders, but I'd beg to differ. So this is what Token Sniffer tells us. So remember, no buy or sell tax, so that's fine. It says that the source contains a mint function which could potentially allow new tokens to be created and dumped. Now, one of my thoughts behind this is that the reason why they have a minting function is because of the way which they are specifically looking to do NFTs. So when we actually have a look on Moonarch, which will show us a little bit deeper behind this mint function, so we won't go too deep into that right now. So the ownership has not been renounced, so that's doesn't mean that's a bad thing. But yeah, we'll continue looking. The other good things though is that it doesn't have any prior similar token contracts, so it is very originally unique, and it has a verified contract source, so that's a good time. In terms of the liquidity, it says less than 0.01% has been locked or burned, which does go against what BSC Check has told us regarding this. So that's interesting. And also Moonarch does say the same thing as Token Sniffer does, that none of it is actually currently locked or burned. It says that it's got 30 ETH in Uniswap liquidity, and it has 18 ETH in SushiSwap liquidity. So we're going to be looking at Dex Screener as well, because this actually will show us a little bit more. So according to what it says regarding UMAD and WETH, it says that $84,000 worth of WETH is currently available in this specific liquidity pool. This one here, UMAD, has got 51,000 available in terms of its liquidity pool, and this was quite interesting. So when you have a look on Dex tools, they do show others, but this is UMAD with Dose, with the Dose coin. I do have a video on the Dose coin. I can link it up into the top right hand corner, so that you guys can know what I'm talking about. But I just thought that was kind of fascinating, that they have a pair with Dose and UMAD. It's just, yeah, and that's got $72,000 worth of Dose. Like, I don't know, that just kind of tripped me out a little bit. So it says that the full total liquidity here is $135,000, and once again the market cap $1.38 billion, which I do believe that the majority of that is owned by these guys once again, because remember, every other wallet from under this one here is less than 0.2. Now there are some contracts, as you can see. You've got UMAD Dose, you've got the Uniswap, so this was the SushiSwap one, you've got the Uniswap one, you've got another smart contract here for whatever that's going to be used for. and another sushi swap UMAD thing going on there. Yeah, so that's quite fascinating. But as you can see, when it says here, it says owner 16% of the supply. Now, I think it should be more, but it says 16% here. Token Sniffer said also says 16% as well. So I believe that if they're pulling off anything, they would be pulling off this particular wallet here, which is known as the deployer. So let's say hypothetically, these other ones are potentially locked elsewhere. It still says 16% there, and BSC check did say that it's got about 28.15%. So it's kind of hard to tell for me personally exactly where it kind of lays. And of that liquidity, all of that has been unlocked. And then it says that we have 83%, which is currently unlocked in terms of the supply. And we don't also see any locks under this side neither regarding that. And so the only thing which has mentioned the lock is actually BSC check itself. So we have a look at some of the potential, I guess, rug check things on the right hand side. So you've got function might mint, can mint, might mint. So as I was mentioning, there is a whole bunch of different mint functions, but to me, these are more along the lines of NFT minting from my point of view. However, with that being said, I do believe that if they wanted to, they could potentially go and mint some extra / more supply under this selection per se. Because keep in mind, they currently only actually have a max supply of 10 billion, right? And so 2.3 billion, 1.6 billion, 1.5, 1.4. So a lot of that is taken up by these main boys here. And private sale, maybe they haven't had their private sale yet or something, because usually when a private sale goes on, usually these tokens go elsewhere. That's peculiar. And it says liquidity pool here, but that's not actually available in the liquidity pool as far as I'm aware. Because if it was available in the liquidity pool, it would have said that the liquidity pool would have been valued at this much. But it's not valued at that much. It's only valued at $135,000, and not $195 million. Which if it was $195 million, then this market cap would be a lot more higher. So it's a bit strange. It's a bit strange, really, that it's kind of not doing, like, some things not quite aligning where we sort of want them to be aligned to. But it also says renounce for all restricts calls to an address, which is interesting. Not sure what that means. If anybody knows what this means, feel free to also write in the comments for that as well. But yeah, so that's that jazz. Let's look at some social stats. So as you can see, over these multiple days, so these guys have had the user created from July 26th, 2021. And we got minus, a little 100, and then, whoa, 20,000 in one day. Now, I think that these might be bots. Gonna be real with you. I think that those might be bots. I think that that's possibly bots as well, or that's possibly bots, because I don't know what could have caused such a blow up like that. If anybody knows, once again, please feel free to comment that, because I haven't seen or found any news which tells us why they have had a sudden huge pump of 20,000 followers. All right, so it says over the last 30 days they have had 25,000 followers. But when we actually have a look at their page, so there's nothing really which sort of says to me, oh wow, this is why they have that many, right? So I still am not entirely sure. But when we actually have a look at some of the comments now, this is similar to the project which I reviewed yesterday. Good project, nice project, I like airdrops. So when I actually had a look at a bunch of these various profiles, most of them were just sort of like retweeting, like, not just airdrops, but like other things, right? It wasn't really like too crazy. But they've also got these comments here. Nice project and congratulations for the team, and writing and I think that's Japanese. Please excuse me if it's not Japanese. It might be Korean, not sure. And then another one, same comment. Oh, sorry, this is a different one. What a wonderful project. That is a wonderful comment. It's a really legit project. Excellent something, guys. Let's go support this project. This is going to be the next. So it feels as though, and this is just hypothesizing, but this is just me going based off these comments, is that this is potentially that these guys have actually potentially paid for a bunch of followers and a bunch of bot comments, because for them to get 20,000 in one day with nothing significant from what I can see, like, I mean, it says that this sort of all-time high would have been on like the it was the 17th when they said that they would have been like near their all-time high. So it's near the all-time high. It doesn't look as though it is as high as this one, because this one was 2581 and this one was 2555. Yeah, so I'm sort of like, where do they come from? And that happened on the 17th of February, right? Whereas according to these stats, it said that this happened on the 9th of March. Sorry, did I say 27th? I meant 17th of February, sorry. 17th of February. So that was right up here when they would have been nearing their all-time high. And they were continuously going down from there. And then they did one tweet on the 24th. Then nothing, a little bit there. Maybe this was just like a bit of kind of like a testing payment just to make sure that they got the followers, then boom, 20,000. I think that is sussy, to be honest. That is my opinion. Doesn't mean that it's right, but yes, I personally think that's quite suspicious. Yes, and usually when I see people who kind of like, they just like tag a whole bunch of randoms, who, you know, you can see like, interesting, 303 followers, 402 followers, 165 follow back, 327, 373. A lot of them are around the 300s. We'll see if that sort of applies to the rest. No, that's got about 5,000. Some of these feel a bit more legit, to be honest. Yeah. But maybe they've just copied and pasted from other things. Like this lady, for instance. She would 100% be real. Yes, she looks real as heck. Cool, so moving on. Google Trends. Now with Google Trends, this one was pretty hard to do. Because if I type in Madworld, it's going to show something. If I type in UMad, it's going to show something. So I decided to show you Madworld versus UMad. So Madworld, I mean, it had a huge burst back in 2009. Madworld, you know the song, Gary Jules. And then, so if we, let's say, removed that one, then it doesn't really have any data to show here. So it shows that there isn't enough data to show with this that actually even that is getting popular search terms. So yes, but this is a specific term only showing this specific term here. So yeah, not entirely sure if that's going to be like the most legit thing. I mean, we could type in UMad if we really want to. Yeah, so February 28th. I remember that other thing happened on the 17th, which was here. So yes, number 27. Great. Let's move on. So this is their website. They have some interesting things which kind of work and kind of don't. So they say that these are their partners, but when we click on them, they don't lead anywhere, even though the mouse says that you can click on these things. Now, one thing which Max Mayer says when it actually comes to looking at, when it comes to checking out if partnerships are actually real, is you want to see if there is an article. Now, the only one which I believe is a legit partner is Animoca Brands, and we will see why, and I will show you why. But I haven't seen anything regarding these other partners. If you guys do know if these partnerships are legit, feel free to comment that. You are very welcome to. But also, this is a part of their Madworld jazz. This is a part of their Madworld video. Sorry guys, that was probably a little bit loud for you if you end up hearing that. But one thing which sort of stands out to me is that they, right near the end of the video, they mention something they mentioned something which I did not expect it to be mentioned. I'll see if we can actually listen to it. But they mentioned something. Okay, wait.
Join you collect.
Sorry for making that sound into the microphone, guys. I am feeling a little bit sick today, so just be aware. So she says join, and then she says a word which sounds like Uplex or Ucollex. So it sort of has a similar ring to it like the video which we did yesterday does. So it's pretty interesting, to be honest. So very fascinating. This also talks a bit about, so none of these links work. This doesn't show us anything. The marketplace, it says marketplace coming soon, but if we actually have a look at their roadmap, it looks like it probably should have already launched. So Madworld platform launch, and this was in the second half of 2021. So it sort of makes me go, okay, all right. Yeah, so it doesn't say anything about a marketplace alongside here, but it does say it over here, so I'm like, okay, interesting. Yeah, we'll look a bit deeper on the actual white paper. So this is their white paper here. One thing regarding the white paper, so this white paper was done in the, what does it say? 22nd of the 11th. Cool. So that was done later during 2021, and I believe that some of these things have changed, because there are some things which to me just don't really quite line up properly on here. So most of the white paper sort of, I guess, talks a bit about the whole idea. I would have probably liked it to have maybe had more pictures, because it does feel a bit more black and white, but you know, that's just a personal preference, to be honest. It doesn't make it a bad white paper, it would have been nice to have had a bit more pictures. But we do have a nice little chart here. Now I did have a look here, so I compared some of these numbers along here and some of these numbers in here to the actual chain itself, and all of them line up. So they are very truthful about what we have seen according to this, from what I can see on this end, okay? So all of it, like, I mean, I'll just give you a quick example. So liquidity pool says 14% team and advisors 15%. Liquidity pool 15%, team and advisors 15%. Company reserve 16%, which I believe is possibly the deployer there. Yeah, so that looks pretty legit, to be honest. Like, that doesn't look like a lie or anything. And this talks about the actual vesting itself and what is locked and unlocked. So it says public sale unlocked 0.55%, which is quite interesting, because of what Moonarch says is currently unlocked. It says that 83% is currently unlocked. So that's fascinating. And then also it says company reserve. So it says company reserve is locked. That 16% is locked. But if it is locked, then like that 16.5%, if it is locked, why in the world did it come up in Token Sniffer as a concern 16.5% and a Moonarch owner 16.5%? But out of that, like, we don't see, I can't see any proof to tell me that the 16.5% is actually properly locked. As I say, I can't see the proof. Yeah, if anybody wants to discuss with me the proof in the comments, I can look at pinning your comment to the top of the comment section, because remember, we are about truth in this community, and I'm willing to change my opinion based on where the facts go. Okay, I want you guys to know that. I want you guys to understand who I am and why I do some of this jazz. So they said that they have a 40-month linear monthly vesting, and then a 2-month cliff at TGE. So yeah, once again, can't see the evidence, cannot see the evidence. And it looks like they do still have access due to the fact that they can go and take some various funds out here and there. So yeah, so that's a bit concerning to me. Now let's have a look at some of the, so they are essentially going to be, or are becoming, a DAO to some extent. So they talk about governance. They also talk about the actual token utility as well. So you guys can pause, have a quick read of that, because I'm not going to read it. Cool, pause, unpause, great. Next section. So marketing and content and developer things, cool, retail partnerships, distributors, licensing agreements, all that sort of jazz. So we're going to be having a brief look at the team here now. They actually did an AMA, which is great. So over here we have actually got two guys. So we have Peter, which is this fellow here, another fellow from Mantra DAO, and this is Jason over here as well. So I'm going to try to avoid saying last names because I seem to butcher a lot of different names. So yeah, so we can see faces, we can hear voices, we know that these guys are legit and real, and they are both in Hong Kong, I believe. So that is good, wonderful, great work. This is a 31-minute AMA. If you guys do want to watch that, you're very welcome to. I couldn't find anything else, so I can't find an official YouTube channel for these guys. But yeah, so Robert Tran, co-founder and Jedi. I must say, I really like how they actually say like their title: co-founder, product and deep sea diver, co-founder, tech and hacker. Like, I mean, I just think it's like really cool, man. I just think it's kind of like cool how, you know, like they've like got their main things: operational diehard, TMT entrepreneur, cybersecurity geeking, you know, just like poster boy. So I mean, all of it's pretty funny, to be honest. All of it's pretty funny, pretty good. Here's one thing which is interesting though. Jason, the guy who we actually saw in that YouTube AMA, he is not listed anywhere here amongst the team. The only one listed here is Peter Laverick, and I believe that his position has actually changed on the team. So even though he's all the way down here, I believe that he's possibly gone up, because I think he's the head of operations, or was that Jason? So Jason, head of product. Peter, he's the blockchain strategy manager. My bad. Yeah, even though it says down here that he is business development and professional athlete. So yeah, so in terms of the team, I have gone and tried to look up every single one of these guys. Would have been nice if maybe these guys could have actually been listed on their official website, because that would have been a little bit better. But they didn't have anything on here, which was a bit of a shame, because usually we do want to be able to sort of see the team on the website, be able to click some links, maybe like a nice little LinkedIn to be able to confirm their actual status. But I couldn't do that with these guys, so I tried to look up each individual one, and I could only find 3 people. So the first one, Robert Tran, the Jedi, the future is here, in a very interesting cover photo. So it says that he's the co-founder of Madworld, Undone, co-founder and Jedi. Oh, maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what I heard was Undone on that video, right? I'm just gonna briefly go back and check, so I'll just pause this for a moment. Never mind, I take it back. It still sounded like she said something like Eucalyx. Oh, Eucalyx! There we go. Look at that. Still says that he's currently present with that team. So, so it kind of makes me question, what exactly is Madworld then, in terms of all this jazz? Not entirely sure. But this is the reason why I think that the Animoca is legit. So Animoca Brands, member of the board of directors at Animoca Brands KK. So he's been with them for about 2 months, it looks like. So that is one reason why I think that the Animoca Brands partnership is actually a legit partnership. Whereas all these other sort of things, not entirely sure. So we can see Eucalyx, which obviously I believe that they are a part of Eucalyx. But maybe these guys are just investors. Maybe they aren't actually partners. Not entirely sure. Once again, do not know. Don't have that information with me. So this guy's had quite a bit of a background, which is cool. Nifty, Mr. Tran, lovely. Raymond, what can we find about him? So Eucalyx, Undone. He doesn't list Madworld, but we can probably identify from the fact that he's with Eucalyx and Undone that he has something to do with Madworld to some extent. So it does say that he is one of the co-founders. Product and deep sea diver. I don't know why they say product. That's interesting. But yes, even though it's not listed on his LinkedIn, I am of the opinion to believe him, because that's the exact same picture. Yes. So next person, Peter. So he is the blockchain strategy manager. He's been a few other things. I can't really see much of an evidence. Oh my gosh, this job I used as a means of paying my way through living in New Zealand for a year. Man, Karpai, the guy was also in New Zealand. Cool. So yeah, he's currently in Hong Kong, and he's the blockchain strategy manager. There's not really much that I can see which sort of says to me, yes, he is like the perfect kind of role for that. Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure if that's actually a good example of his sort of background with this sort of jazz. Not saying that my LinkedIn would look any better, of course. But yeah, so this fellow here, Jason, so he actually was working with BlackBerry for quite a while. He was a part of the director of IT operations, and some of those things as well. Intelligence, security, everywhere. Fabulous. Owner and lead consultant of system structures, regional director of IT, and he's now currently the head of product and technology. So I think that he does have some very nice experiences which can sort of speak for themselves. But everybody else, do not know where they are, cannot find them, cannot see them. But I feel like this probably is just maybe a renamed version of their Ucolex, or possibly something different altogether. So yeah, so we'll come to the part of the video where we ask ourselves, well, crud, we'll have to rate this. So this is a little bit of a rating system. Let's check this out. This is CSI's work in progress, likely inaccurate project checklist. Do they have a functional and clean website / media? It's functional-ish. I'm just a bit surprised about this marketplace, how it sounds like that was supposed to be this section, but they currently don't have it like available. So that's a bit surprising. And I don't know about any of these others. I haven't seen anything talking about staking. Haven't seen branded digital galleries. I mean, they talk about doing this sort of stuff in VR. Ucolex vertical integration. Yeah, so I don't really know, dude. Actually, was this a white paper? Oh, it's a white paper, cool. Yeah, so in terms of looking at all that jazz, and some of the things, like, you can't really click on them, my suggestion would be, if let's say the team is actually watching this video, would to be actually click on these and it shows maybe an article proving the partnership is legit and real. Okay, that would be my suggestion. Also, create a YouTube channel, guys. I tried to find a YouTube channel, but I couldn't see that neither. So I feel like these guys need a bunch of work in order if we are actually going to trust them. So in terms of website / clean, I'm going to give them like a 4, to be honest. Like, it is functional and working, but there's just some things where I'm just like, nah. Any threatening big boy holders. Now, I'm going to select this one as not applicable, because remember, reason being, they could have something within the actual contract which shows that these are properly locked according to their vesting schedule. But when we look here, I can't see anything here. So the reason why I'm doing not applicable is because somebody said that you can possibly find it in the actual contract. So yeah, so I'm putting that as not applicable, so we're not counting that. Okay. So Control plus V paid bot comments. Yeah, it looked like there was a few of them, so I'm gonna give them a 2-star for that, because it just doesn't seem real. Like $20,000 on a random Wednesday in March. Don't know about that, champ. Don't know about that one. I'm going to give that about a 2 for that. Is the token / distribution fair? I think that these guys are taking way too much for themselves. I think that for investors, in order for us to invest, I think that we don't really have much, to be honest. I think there's really not that much to work with. So I was thinking of putting this as not applicable as well, because we are not entirely sure of this actual thing here. But I'm going to go with the assumption that these guys are still wanting to hold a huge amount. So I'm going to say no. I'm going to give them a 2-star for that. Yeah, I just think that's a bit sussy. Solid roadmap. The roadmap doesn't look very good, and I mean, they didn't have a roadmap on their white paper, and I mean, it's kind of hard to tell. Like, they say private sales have happened in the first half of 2021. If it did happen in the first half of 2021, why do they still own 9.5% of that private sale? So heck no. Like, I'm gonna give them like a 1 for that. That sucks. Trusted. They don't really have any trusted ones. They did have that one sort of IEO exchange, the LA token. I'm going to give them a 3. Yeah, which is usually what I give for anything which is usually listed on PancakeSwap anyway, so yeah. Is the team doxed? Arguably. Remember when we had a look at the white paper, there wasn't really much confirming this. I'll put them up to a 4. Interviews or AMAs, we have those 2 interviews / AMAs, but one of those guys wasn't on the white paper, and the other one, yeah, so I'll give them like a 4 or 3. I'll give them a 4 because we actually do have something from them. Any relevant team experience? Kind of. We know a little bit. I'm gonna give them like maybe a 5 or a 6. Let's give them a 5 with that one. I feel like we haven't, because we can't see the other team members, it doesn't really give us a huge amount of confidence in the overall project, but we do know that a few of them have had some good choices beforehand. In any notable partnerships, haven't confirmed any partnerships. So we can either select that as not applicable, or yeah, they have one with Animoca brands, which is pretty popular. I'll give them a 4. I'll give them a 4. So once again, another 2-star, and 29 out of 90. So yeah, because we don't know this one for certain. So anyway, guys, that is my video. Oh my gosh, this is a hugely long video. I hope that this was very insightful. Yeah, also, if you do want to request something, please consider joining my Patreon. This says $31, but it's actually like $20 if you want to join it. You can, and so yeah, if you want to have fan requests, please consider becoming an advocate. Once again, do the all liking and subscribing if you guys like the video, and if you do want to come in, please have a look at that little gray box down the bottom. And remember, none of this is financial advice. So guys, hope that this was all good for you. Much love, be safe, be well, don't do anything I wouldn't do. Yeah, come chat to me, fare thee well.